So here we are, and according to what was just said live on First Talk, everything is aligning perfectly for the New York Knicks. Sources close to the team have revealed that the front office is zeroing in on multiple players who could significantly elevate the roster. Players who wouldn't just be fill-in, but guys who could step in and contribute immediately, especially as the team continues building toward what they hope is a finals run. Right now, the Knicks are sitting on one last open spot for a veteran minimum deal. And according to the panel this morning, that spot is going to be filled before they officially hand out that pending rookie contract. So yes, they've got their eyes on a few young players for that rookie slot. But first, the attention is clearly on locking in one more proven NBA vet. Now, when you add in the upcoming Summer League matchups and the fact that the team is expected to move fast, we're likely to get answers in the next 24 to 48 hours. And here's the important part. The Knicks still have room under that second tax apron, which gives them more flexibility than a lot of other contending teams right now. They can afford to make this next move without worrying about financial penalties. At the moment, the Knicks have 12 guaranteed roster spots filled. They'll likely bring that up to 14 before the season tips off, just like they did last year. And once you factor in the 3 two-way contracts they're allowed to carry, the full rotation starts to take shape. Depth will not be a problem, even if injuries come into play later in the year. But let's talk names, because First Talk broke this down with clear insider info. According to what was just shared by one of the panelists, citing reporting from league insiders, the Knicks are keeping a close watch on Marcus Smart's situation in Washington. There's speculation that the Wizards may buy him out, and New York is believed to be among the teams ready to pounce if that happens. Here's the thing, though. They're not locked in on Smart alone. Landry Shamet is also still very much on their radar. In fact, there's word that Shamet is open to returning to New York, and the Knicks are still weighing that option. So it's not a matter of if they'll bring in another vet. It's more about which kind of player they want with that last roster spot. The way First Talk framed it, this comes down to a decision between defense and shooting. Do you go for the gritty, physical backcourt stopper in Marcus Smart? Or do you target someone like Shamet, who can stretch the floor and keep defenses honest with his jumper? And let's be clear, the Knicks' interest in Marcus Smart isn't new. That connection has been in place since 2023. Once it became obvious that Boston might move on from Smart, which they eventually did, shipping him to Memphis in the Kristaps-Porzingis trade, New York had him circled. They poked around again when the Grizzlies were ready to flip him, but nothing materialized because, at the time, the asking price would have required moving Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa, a trade the Knicks clearly weren't comfortable making. Now, with Smart possibly heading to the open market through a buyout, the opportunity is right there. According to multiple sources discussed on the show, the Knicks are still very much in the mix. And one more note, it was Stefan Bondy who initially flagged New York's ongoing monitoring of the Smart situation. Shout out also to NY Basketball, who echoed the same thing. Smart remains firmly on the Knicks' radar, and this could finally be the moment when interest becomes action. Let's not forget what Marcus Smart brings to the table. 3-time All-Defensive Team member, former Defensive Player of the Year, and a guy who's been battle-tested in the playoffs for years. Over his postseason career, he's averaged roughly 13 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards. Solid production from a guy known primarily for what he does on the other end. Shooting-wise, he's never been a lights-out threat. Career-wise, he's sitting below 40% from the field and around 33% from deep in the playoff. But the Knicks wouldn't be bringing him in to carry the scoring load. They'd want him for his on-ball defense and his toughness. That's where the First Talk panel left things. New York knows they'll be relying on offense from their stars, but adding another elite individual defender could be the exact kind of move that balances the bench rotation. And while the Knicks are clearly in a strong position to go after Marcus Smart, the panel on First Talk emphasized that they won't be the only ones circling his situation. The Los Angeles Lakers are reportedly monitoring the same scenario, and according to insiders, they've been intrigued by the idea of bringing Smart in as well. That puts some competitive pressure on New York, especially if Smart prioritizes playing time and opportunity over location or roster fit. It's no secret, a team like the Lakers, who are thinner across the rotation and still have holes to plug, might be able to offer Smart more consistent minutes than the Knicks can. And let's face it, despite the Lakers' postseason inconsistency, they still have major star power. When you're a free agent looking at the prospect of playing next to someone like LeBron James, that carries weight. That kind of situation, even if the title odds are slim, can still be enough to sway a veteran. But that doesn't change the core issue here. Marcus Smart is going to have option. If the Knicks want to land him, they'll need to be aggressive and persuasive. And the same goes for Landry Shamet, who is still very much in the picture. Both players bring something different, and both are being considered by multiple teams. Smart, though he only played in 34 games this past season, was still elite defensively when on the court. According to advanced metrics discussed during the segment, he ranked in the 90th percentile for steals per 75 feet, and in 5 possessions, and 92nd percentile for deflection. That defensive impact hasn't faded. The question is simply durability. As he's moved deeper into his NBA career, now over a decade in, the wear and tear is real. Time flies, right? Drafted in 2014, Smart finished second in Rookie of the Year, voting behind Andrew Wiggins. And while Wiggins had a smoother start, both players have had unique journeys. One panelist even took a moment to reflect on how unfortunate it was to see Jabari Parker's career derailed by injury. Just one of those moments of what could have been. Back to the Knicks, Smart would absolutely be a logical fit. Still, if you ask the First Talk desk, there's a real argument to be made that Landry Shamet might actually be the better fit for this particular roster. Not because he's a better player overall, but because of the specific needs this team has off the bench. Here's the reality. Smart would likely come in as the 10th man, maybe even deeper depending on how the rotation shakes out. Assuming Mitchell Robinson is healthy and remains the starting center, the Knicks bench is already stacked with Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Yabusele, and Ariel Hukporti. That's not an easy group to crack, and Smart may want a situation where he doesn't have to fight for every minute. On the flip side, Shamet might be more comfortable in that role, and his offensive profile is hard to ignore. He quietly shot over 40% from beyond the arc last season, and the market for him hasn't been as loud as expected. If the Knicks can bring him back, he could step into that elite catch-and-shoot sniper role, something this team still lacks consistently. And let's not forget what Shamet did in the playoffs. Once he was given meaningful minutes late in the postseason, he flat-out delivered. In the final 4 games he played, Shamet hit 54% from deep and 50% from the field overall. His defensive effort surprised a lot of fans too. He was aggressive, locked in, and clearly playing with purpose. That type of two-way performance left a real impression. He even had moments guarding elite players like Tyrese Halliburton and Andrew Nembhard, where he didn't just survive defensively, he actually made plays. That effort, combined with his smooth shooting, had Knicks fans chanting his name by the end of that stretch. It was one of those late-season storylines that felt genuine and earned. In fact, the First Talk crew highlighted one of those exact moments, the final win of the Knicks' playoff run, where Shamet was a key reason for the victory. He hit big shots, made the right reads, and brought a spark off the bench that changed the game's momentum. The arena erupted with chants of "Shamet, Shamet," a moment that said everything. So now, the Knicks front office has to decide, do you go with the defensive toughness and leadership of Marcus Smart, or do you double down on shooting and spacing by re-signing a guy like Landry Shamet, who proved he can contribute when it matters? Now, one final point the First Talk panel made loud and clear. Landry Shamet might genuinely want to return to New York, and that could be the difference. As they explained, there's a strong belief inside the organization that Shamet appreciates the faith the Knicks showed in him. After suffering that dislocated shoulder, the front office could have easily moved on, but instead, they stood by him. They kept him in the building, kept him around the team, and even found a way to give him reps through their G League affiliate while he rehabbed. That kind of support doesn't go unnoticed. And according to those close to the situation, Shamet genuinely enjoyed being in New York. He liked the culture, he liked the coaching staff, and above all, he knows the team values him. There's a real chance, the panel said, that he looks at this summer and decides, why leave? This could be the perfect fit for him, both personally and professionally. And to be honest, that's the direction they recommended the Knicks go. If you're looking for a veteran to round out your roster, a guy who already knows the system, who can shoot the lights out and still hold his own defensively, Landry Shamet checks all the boxes. He may not be the flashiest name left in the pool, but sometimes familiarity and trust go a long way. That said, they also brought up another name worth monitoring, Delon Wright. Now, Wright is cut from the same cloth as Marcus Smart, more of a defensive presence than a scoring threat. But make no mistake, in the small sample size we saw from him late last season, he made his presence felt. Sure, the numbers don't jump off the page. In those final 4 games, he averaged under 2 points per game and struggled shooting, just 22% from the field and 16.7% from deep. But the defensive impact? That was real. He brought toughness, awareness, and veteran savvy. He wasn't a guy filling the stat sheet. He was doing the dirty work, playing smart positional defense and making life difficult for opposing ball handlers. So if the Knicks miss out on Marcus Smart, or simply choose to go in a slightly different direction, Delon Wright could absolutely be a fallback option. He's dependable, he knows his role, and he wouldn't disrupt the chemistry this team has built. But in the end, the first talk desk was unified. Landry Shamet feels like the move. Bring him back. Give him another shot to build on what he started. He earned it, and more importantly, he delivered when it mattered. He helped this team push all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. That means something. So now, it's up to Leon Rose and the front office to make the final call. They've got the flexibility, they've got the cap room, they've got the leverage. The roster has 2 open spots. The ball is in their court. What about you? Who do you want to see take that final roster spot? Shamet? Smart? Maybe a dark horse? Let us know what you think. Join the conversation. That wraps it up for today's breakdown. Be sure to keep it locked here for more updates on the Knicks' off-season decision. And as always, stay tuned, because this roster, it's far from finished. Go Knicks!